Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at probably one of the coolest items that I will ever review, that being the Robosen Transformers Auto Converting Optimus Prime. In all honesty, when this guy was announced and of course showcased, it absolutely blew my mind. This guy truly is a massive game changer, as it is a transformer of which can actually self-transform itself. Honestly, super awesome, and believe me, there is in fact a lot more than meets the eye to this guy than initially expected. Now, I did pick mine up over at the Icon store, seeing as sadly Hasbro in the UK never in fact actually stocked him, so for those of you looking to add this guy to your collection, I shall of course pack a link down in the description box below, as well as a discount code. Now you can see here, this is in fact one of two boxes that Optimus Prime comes stored in, of course for a figure of which costs between $750 to $1,000, you would definitely expect it to be packaged well. So you can see we've got a really cool silhouette image there of Optimus Prime. As we just very quickly spin here to the side, it does showcase a few of the features such as voice controlled interactive play, manual control via the mobile app, and it also states that it can complete missions as well as has an action library. And in all honesty, that pretty much wraps it up here for the outer packaging. Without further ado, let's actually take a look at the box, of which conceals Optimus Prime himself. And here it is, and in all honesty, this is probably one of the best packages that I've ever seen. In regards to an unboxing experience, this truly is something to behold. So you can see Optimus Prime is in fact actually concealed within this, and this is a massive, I want to say styrofoam, although I'm more than likely wrong, massive foam box. Honestly, it's incredibly durable. You can see we've got the Autobot insignia stamped there, authentic Transformers, as well as the Robosen logo, and in order to actually unbox it, he does in fact have clips on either side, of which of course you'll just want to snap out of place, and once that's complete we can take this entire lid section and essentially just pull this here all the way up, and there you've got Optimus Prime concealed with all of his accessories. And in all honesty, this looks absolutely fantastic. You can see we've got here the weapons, so if I just remove this section here, you can see the Autobot insignia once more, and as we just crack this open, you can see we get an instruction manual telling you the do's and don'ts about actually inserting the weaponry when playing with Optimus. So you can see we get the Ion Blaster as well as the Energon Axe, as I just set that here off to the side. Of course, we've got the big guy himself, Optimus Prime. Honestly, this piece is enormous, and we get the various different USB chargers. You can see we also do get here the instruction manual, which is in fact really helpful. I would definitely recommend going through that. And of course, here we have Optimus Prime. Now, I will in fact actually take him out of this in a separate segment, just as he is enormous, but as you can see here, displayed super nicely, and this is in fact a package of which you can go back to. So when you actually do get this, initially the smokestacks don't in fact actually come attached. Of course, I've attached them for the review purposes, but if you wish to in fact actually put him back in, these do not obstruct this at all. This is designed for you to in fact repackage after you're done playing with him, just as of course you don't want him to get dusty or damaged when on display. So I thought that was a really nice touch. And so here we have Optimus Prime fully converted within the truck mode. Now, I'll just very quickly go through the details of this, as of course the main event is in fact the actual auto transforming / voice controlled feature. You can see in regards to an actual Optimus Prime truck design, I think they've done a fantastic job. It really does capture the appearance of Prime from the original G1 series, and of course, considering I'm a live action movie fan, I maybe would have loved to have seen this done in either the Western Star or of course the Peterbilt semi-truck, but as it stands, this is of course the most iconic Prime design, so it would stand to reason that they would use this. Detail wise, I think it looks really nice, especially here from the front. You can see we've got a really nice reflective blue visor going on here for the windscreen. You can see there's some lovely metallic silver going on for the outer section, as well as there for the window wipers, and this entire region, as far as I'm concerned, is in fact chrome. So you can see the grille piece is very reflective. Of course, you've got the front headlights, you've got the side view mirrors, of which don't in fact actually transform with the figure. So for truck mode, you are supposed to deploy them, and then for robot mode, they can just sit flush like that. As we spin our attention here to the side, you can see the silver stripe. One thing that I'm not a huge fan of is that when you don't in fact actually have him powered up, the servos are incredibly floppy, meaning that literally if you pick him up, the legs are going to droop, he's going to split into pieces, and in robot mode it does make it a little more difficult to in fact actually display him within the collection, as of course those knees really have nothing locking them into place, meaning that you either have to have him displayed here in truck mode, or you have to have him permanently turned on if you wish to in fact actually display him. But in all honesty, I don't think it looks too bad. Of course, you've got the massive chunky feet here hanging out to the back, which isn't the end of the world. I will in fact actually touch base with a critique I have with these. Seeing as these are of course the actual base section of Prime's foot, they will become scratched incredibly easily. You can already see here they have become marked up just by playing around with him already, so that is slightly unfortunate. It maybe would have been nice to have seen them perhaps include maybe a foam piece, but then that maybe could have actually compromised his stability. So I guess they had to do what they had to do. And then of course, as we take a look here towards the back, you've got the speaker section as well as those chromed out silver smokestacks, and also the hubcaps too have also been picked out in a really nice chrome. So with all that being said, I believe that just about wraps it up here for Prime in truck mode. Let's in fact actually power him up. So here at the top, you can see we've got a massive power button that once held for a couple of seconds
cards.
Will in fact, of course, fully power him up, and you can see the front headlights turn on. And now that, of course, he is fully activated, the servos have now kicked into gear, meaning that he is literally a brick. So you can pick him up, and you can see he's not flopping around at all, which is actually really, really cool to see. Now, here in truck mode, to be quite honest, there really isn't all that much to discuss. If you do, in fact, actually talk to him, he can perform a couple of actions, which I'll try my best to showcase. Of course, I don't want him rolling off this review section, but we'll just demonstrate this quickly. Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Roll out.
Let's roll.
And you can see, of course, with force, he will in fact fire forwards, which I thought was really, really cool. And once again, honestly, that voice control never, ever gets old. You can have him perform a few other commands here in truck mode, but I'll showcase those more off when we do, in fact, actually bring the mobile app into play. Without further ado, let's get this guy transformed up into his robot form. Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Transform. And so there you have Optimus Prime fully transformed up into his robot mode, and in all honesty I can safely say that that never ever gets old. Seeing Prime transform from robot into truck and vice versa seamlessly, honestly it's just incredible, and it's all literally by speech. It's just so awesome. Now this guy is in fact enormous when we get him into robot mode, and you may have noticed that when I actually had him in truck mode I did have the rear of the vehicle facing forwards. That's just because when he transforms into robot mode he will be facing backwards. That is slightly annoying, especially if you are playing around with the remote control feature. You do then have to have him actually spin around in order to see the front of the figure, but honestly what a fantastic looking piece. So to demonstrate a few of the other features, Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Move forward.
Let's go.
You can see there that by command he will in fact move forward, which I thought was just absolutely incredible. We can also get him to say a few other things. Hey Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Are we friends?
You are my friend.
Hey Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Megatron.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Now, one thing which is not only super awesome, but can be sometimes slightly freaky, is that if you do leave him on standby for a couple of seconds, he will in fact actually begin to breathe. This is such an amazing feature and truly does bring this guy to life. Honestly, he's definitely an evolution in terms of technology, and I cannot wait to see as to where they take this type of technology next. Now, of course, we'll once again go through another couple of his features. So we saw earlier on that he does include the Iron Blaster. This does in fact also have an LED function, so if we... You can see he will just start randomly putting off a couple of moves, which is super cool. You can see if we pull this back, it will trigger an LED function that when inserted into Prime's hand... Hey Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Open fire.
Fire now.
That has got to be one of my favourite features about this guy. Is just so cool. We can also say a couple of other things to him. So, Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Engage.
Do not let the Decepticons win the war.
That to me, honestly, is just so awesome. The actual movement of the Iron Blaster within the hand itself is just fantastic. And not to mention, the actual sound effects that we get with this too are incredible. I love how they do, in fact, actually complement the motion almost perfectly. So that is a really nice touch. So you can see here for the actual instruction manual, it gives you basically the basics of what you can, in fact, say to him for him to indeed perform a couple of commands. I believe for most of them, you will have to detach the axe, as well as, of course, the Iron Blaster or the actual servos themselves will become stuck, causing you to indeed actually reset him. So we'll just remove it here for safety purposes. Let's get Optimus Prime to say happy birthday. Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Happy birthday.
Greetings from Cybertron. I am Optimus Prime. I am granting you permission to have the greatest birthday the universe has ever seen. Roll out.
We can also get him to perform a few other commands, such as Optimus Prime.
Greetings.
Move right. Move left. Optimus Prime,
Greetings.
who are you?
I am Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime,
Greetings.
report.
Decepticons detected.
Optimus Prime,
Greetings.
hero.
There's a thin line between being a hero and being a memory.
So essentially, I'm pretty sure that you guys get the gist that this guy can perform to so many commands. I won't in fact actually go through all of them here in this review, as we'll pretty much be here all day, but in all honesty, the actual voice control feature of this is mind-blowing. Some of the things that you can get this guy to perform is just incredible. But it does not end there at all. Of course, if you do in fact actually bring the mobile app in and of course boot it, you'll have to have the Bluetooth settings turned on. You can see that you simply do just connect.
Connection complete.
So you can see that we essentially get a joystick here where you can get him moving forwards, backwards, left to right, as well as turning side to side. So I'll very quickly demonstrate a few of those.
Let's go.
So you can get him moving forwards, of course moving back.
Reporting for duty.
We can get him shuffling from side to side.
Let's go.
And we can also get him rotating the full 360 or pretty much to any angle that you'd want him to be in.
Let's go. Let's go.
Now I'm trying to be a bit careful as I'm in fact using a different review station to normal, but then you can see here that we also have a few other commands on the side, such as the auto point insignia, the blaster, as well as the axe, so we'll just showcase what this one does.
Fire now.
So that one there will essentially get him to perform one of God knows how many features that this guy does in fact actually possess. If we bring in the battle axe, just as I don't believe we've showcased him actually utilising that yet, and then pushing the Energon axe insignia here on the app, you can literally have Prime slicing and dicing pretty much anyone, which I just thought was super awesome. So for this next part of the review, I will in fact showcase some of the actions that Prime can perform within the app itself. So for this, you are going to want to exit here, the remote screen, push the actions button, which will allow us to then be greeted by a whole host of different actions that you can get him to perform. And this isn't even all of them. You can see we can in fact actually download more actions here. Now I'll try and showcase these in as best as I possibly can. As mentioned beforehand, we are dealing with a slightly different review station, so maybe I'll actually have to put him in a different spot to showcase some of the more exaggerative ones. But without further ado, let's push perhaps one of my favourite ones, that being the Christmas action. Now that one is in fact actually a personal favourite of mine, and honestly some of the dance moves that this Prime can in fact actually perform are incredible. Those servo motors truly are extraordinary. Now sadly that one doesn't actually come with a sound effect. Maybe it's due to copyright reasons, as of course it is a Christmas action, so perhaps it was supposed to include some form of Christmas sound effect, but nevertheless the actual action itself is incredible. We'll also perform another one I really enjoy. Let's do this time the lightning boxing. So you saw there, that one was super cool, rapid fire there from Prime, and believe me, it definitely looks as though Megatron was knocked out during that round. But probably one of my favourite actions that he can pull off is in fact the hero pose.
Till all are one.
That one there is just so awesome. We also do in fact actually get the squat exercise. So you can really have Prime feeling the burn here with this one. And even the breathing exercises that he performs are just honestly extraordinary. And also included on this list is a few that you could also activate via the voice control, such as Be Cool. So let's try this one. So you can see there with that one, Prime will of course pull off quite a few cool moves, and there are also a few others on here of which are on the slightly more dynamic side, so I'll just set Prime back slightly so that we can try our best to showcase a few of those. So next up, you can see here we've got the Mountaineering Run. And I'll try my absolute best to showcase this one, but 9 times out of 10, he's probably going to slide off the actual review station. We do get the funny push-ups. Now I'll perform one last action within the app. I know it's super tempting to go through them all, but believe me, we'll be here pretty much all day. I have decided to choose power, so let's see what this has in store for us.
I return, more powerful than ever.
So you can see that not only is the actual movement of the servos incredible, but we actually have Peter Cullen's voice as Optimus Prime. This truly is just the icing on the cake. This piece is astonishing, and the actual music that goes along with these actions too, I think is fantastic. Now, we won't wrap up completely with the app, as there are a few other features that I want to demonstrate, so if we just tap out, you can see how we have Create as well as Mission. Now, Create is essentially where you can build your own actions either in an accumulative form, so you can have him doing perhaps the power action, and then straight away, in fact, actually going into maybe the push-ups, which is really nice. And then we also do get missions. Now, missions here, you can either customize them or they are blocked based. So let's take a look here at the block base. Once he completes each mission, it will in fact actually unlock another mission, which I thought was really cool. So not only can you have a ton of fun with the actual voice command feature of this guy, but you can have a heck of a lot more, heaps of fun with the actual app, which I thought was incredible. Now, we're not completely done with this, as I still want to showcase how you do have a little more creative range, or creative liberty, should I say, in regards to the remote control of the truck mode. So here's hoping Prime doesn't in fact actually stack it. I am indeed actually going to turn him to the side for this, just so that we can see how the transformation varies here from a side angle. You will just simply want to push this button here. And there we have Optimus once again fully transformed back into the truck mode. Now, when you do actually convert him, the actual app itself will also transform this time in order to accommodate the truck mode. So you can see we have fewer actions. We merely just have the auto point insignia as well as the horn. I will in fact actually push this, as it may cause him to perform a slightly spontaneous action, which may cause him to in fact actually topple off the review station. But you can see we also do get the honking horn. So you can see there, once again, we've got the transformation button, and we do in fact actually get a fully articulated joystick now, so you can have him going forwards, backwards, left to right, back, and you can also have him turning when going back as well, which I won't demonstrate here on this review station, just as once again, I don't want him to topple over. Now, a few things worth noting, if you're like me and really don't like that big red panel slapped behind his back, we can in fact actually remove that. So if you just come here and gently wiggle that off, you can see there you can have Prime with a much more cleaner profile, of which I think looks fantastic, and it is indeed a slight shame that they couldn't have found this to in fact actually spring backwards during transformation, but it's very simple to of course remove and reinsert, and in my opinion that makes him look so much better. So here for bot mode, you can see that we do get the LEDs here in the forearms, we do in fact actually get some lights going on here for this torso belt, and of course the actual eyes will illuminate a really piercing blue, which is just really awesome. And for those of you wondering, here for a very quick size comparison, we've got the Robosen Optimus Prime compared next to the MP44 Takara Prime, as well as of course the Earthrise Leader, so you can see that he is absolutely enormous. Probably one of the biggest primes that I own in the entire collection. Being a rival for some of the 3A premium collection, this guy truly is a massive version, and you can see of course that they took heavy inspiration from that G1 design, and considering this is in fact auto-converting, I think they did an incredible job. When you actually compare it of course to MP44, all of the major design elements are in fact here within the robot form here of the Robosen Prime, which I thought was really cool. The only areas of which I think it's slightly lacking in would be that panel that is at the back of the head. I do wish that too could have also auto-converted, as well as the wheels that we've got going on for the torso, but other than that, pretty much everything else is near enough spot on. And so, some final thoughts for the Robosen Transformers auto-converting Optimus Prime. In all honesty, this is an amazing piece, truly a game changer for technology going forward in my personal opinion. I think that in regards to the actual functionality of not only the voice command, but some of the servos that they've got packed into this guy, it's just outstanding. The movement in particular in the robot mode are some of the best that I've ever seen from a robotic. The actual breathing feature I think is impeccable. It truly brings this guy to life, and once again makes it stand out from pretty much any robotic that I've ever seen in my entire life. This guy is insane. Some of the actions that you can get him to perform, most noticeably in the actual app, are just incredible. Honestly, the actual attention to detail that they've packed into those is remarkable. The way he does the push-ups, when he collapses, when he does in fact actually get out of breath and of course starts to pant, it's all amazing. When you pack in that Iron Blaster as well, and the actual arm movement that he does when actually firing that, it's just super remarkable. The voice command feature in itself is just so mind-blowing. I've had tons of fun actually getting him transformed from robot back into truck mode, and of course vice versa. You can literally have fun with this guy all day long, and surprisingly the battery life actually lasts for quite a considerable amount of time. I'd say that he's definitely got quite a few hours packed into him, which is amazing. And one thing also worth mentioning is that I think he comes with a pretty decent range of accessories, that being the Energon Axe, and I also really like how they do have a role to play in regards to what actual actions you can have Prime performing. In regards to detail, I think the robot mode looks good. Of course it is rather basic considering that it is inspired by the G1 design, and considering I'm a massive live action movie fan, I can't help but wonder how this guy would have looked had it been the Peterbilt semi-truck Michael Bay Prime, or even the Western Star version, or even if they'd actually taken the Bumblebee movie Optimus. But with all that being said, I think robot mode looks great, in particular if you do remove that red panel behind the back. Some qualms that I do have in regards to him would be that sadly you can't in fact actually have him displayed in robot mode without having him turned on, as soon as you hit that power off button, all of the servos automatically become incredibly loose and floppy, and actually having him on display without the actual electronics turned on is definitely a hazard, to say the least. I think the truck mode looks great. Of course, I do wish that maybe they could have added some foam on the base of the foot just to prevent scratching. Although you don't see it in robot mode at all, you do see it slightly in truck mode, so that isn't the best. But in terms of an actual product, I think this is fantastic. The materials all feel incredibly premium, and as I've mentioned multiple times previously, I think the servos and the actual movement that you can get this guy to perform is just quite freaky in all honesty, because it's so damn realistic. I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comment section below on this particular piece. I really do believe this is going to be a massive game changer going forward, and at the time of this recording, this truly is a one of its kind. There hasn't really been an auto-converting Transformer ever officially produced, so I do wonder as to whether or not we can see more of this going forward. Of course, this is an incredibly expensive piece. This guy costs in some parts of the world even more than the HasLab Unicron. I do in fact actually believe its retail price was more than Unicron, as I believe that guy went for something like $580 when it was originally released, whereas this retails for at the moment $750, and of course upwards in the States. And of course if you're worldwide, then it's going to be slightly more expensive and a lot more harder to in fact actually track him down. So with all that being said, he is currently available and in stock right now over at the Icon store, and for that of course I shall pack a link down in the description box below. I'd really love to hear your thoughts on this guy down in the comment section below, and of course be sure to let me know what you thought of the review. I thank you all so much for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.